Hey guys, Danny Johnson here, and welcome to our car showcase. Today we have my 2004 Ford Mustang SVT Cobra, and this is in screaming yellow, which they only made 299 coupes in, so very rare car. It was very hard to find, and basically the way that I found it is it was on Craigslist in Las Vegas, and I took the phone number down, and then we all went down to race there a few weeks later, and they closed the track because it just started to sprinkle. And so we were down in Vegas with nothing to do, and I pulled up Craigslist and the car was gone. So I wasn't sure if it was sold or if the owner had taken it down, so I texted him, and we waited for about 45 minutes and walked around the casinos, and finally we got a response, and he basically said he still had the car but he wasn't sure on selling it anymore. So we begged him to let us come over and just look at it. And so we drove out and met up with him at a gas station, and when I saw the car, I just fell in love immediately. I already loved the screaming yellow cars. There were several that I was already following, and to find another one so rare and in such good condition just made me have to have the car. So he didn't let me drive it, but he let me drive it around the gas station, but not on the road, of course, and I didn't blame him. But basically, I negotiated with him and was able to go down and pick the car up. It had 39,000 miles on it, and just being behind the wheel, it was one of the smoothest Mustangs I've ever driven, probably the smoothest Mustang I've ever driven. And I was looking at a couple other ones back east for sale, but their condition was unknown until you actually saw the car in person. And so seeing this car and its condition and knowing that it still had the factory clutch and the factory IRS and 39,000 miles on it, I knew that it didn't have too hard of a life. So basically I'll show you under the hood here. Alright, so under the hood we have a 2.3 liter Whipple on top, and which is really nice little supercharger twin screw. Car makes just shy of 600 to the wheels. Yeah, probably about 600 now that I've removed the cats. The car came with a catted X pipe on it, and I traded that out for an off-road H. Just had a really good sound with a Mac cat back that was on it. But it has the Ford GT Supercar Cam Covers. These are the actual ones from Ford. Beautiful powder coat job that they do. And I did switch out the Ford GT coil covers that said powered by Ford for these ones that say powered by SVT, because I like that a little bit better. It has an aftermarket expansion tank for this is for the intercooler for the supercharger system. And I changed some of these pulleys around here, and I put on a MechMan 240 amp alternator, big high output alternator, and then I did the big 3 system, and you can see that in my install videos. I'll show you how to install that if you were looking to do something like that, because alternators are one of the things on these cars that definitely in my opinion, they're not sufficient. It uses the same alternator as the V6 Mustang, 105, 110 amp output. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure I always had plenty of power to power the fuel pumps and everything, so it never ran lean, and it does have a little sound system in it, so it's good to have. Anyway, has a little cold air intake system here that meets up to the factory system, so nothing too big there. Has an aftermarket heat exchanger up front with the Cobra lettering on it. Don't know if you could see that. But then under the hood, that's pretty much it. 60-pound fuel injectors, and I added a JLT catch can on one side, and then the pre-filter here for the breather on the other side. And it has a firewall adjuster, aftermarket clutch quadrant, which is kind of a must for these cars. And then otherwise though, for the appearance, I am a purist with these cars. I want it to look like a Cobra, like a Terminator. I don't want to do anything that makes anybody question that it might be a GT with a few swapped Cobra parts. So it has the factory side skirts, factory folding mirror, factory wing, you know, all the factory Cobra components here, heat exchanger hood, everything is pretty much factory. As for the interior, it's pretty well factory. The previous owner did have the door pulls painted screaming yellow and did a very good job with them. It does have supercharged kick plates going down the side, and the factory charcoal interior, so everything's good there. I've added a fuel pressure gauge. As a Speed Hut is the brand. They have a nice matching gauge there that I got from them. And then this is an Aeroforce interceptor gauge here that basically plugs into the OBD2 and tells you all the parameters that the car's running, battery, and the ones that I'm mainly concerned on is ignition timing, the charge temperature, which is your IAT2, your air intake, air temperature. And I'm kind of watching those ones along with voltage, just make sure everything's going good. And then I have a AM fail-safe wideband, which is really good because it'll light up and flash at you if you go out of a preset parameter for how much boost you're running compared to what your air-fuel ratio is that you set. And if you wire it up, it'll actually cut power to the engine so you don't ever lean the car out, but I don't have anything hardwired or anything like that, so I just let it flash at me. But up here I have pretty much the stock Cobra gauges. I've added the Hilton Boost overlay. They have a video on doing that as well if you're interested, if you have a Cobra or a Lightning or anything. It has an MGW short throw shifter, and I actually changed it. It had a red handle. I swapped the orange handle off my Mach 1 and it just worked out a little bit better that way. But anyway, otherwise it's factory interior, which I really like. And in the back I've added these 99 2000 Cobra R or 01 Cobra tail lights. So they have that amber color to them, which I really like. This gives the car a little character, and it's a Ford only part, so kind of an Easter egg type hunt for people who know what they're looking at there. I have Mickey Thompson ET Street drag radials on the back, and I actually run them at about 25 psi in order to get traction. So that's just kind of one of the things you have to do when your car is putting out 600 horsepower. So anyway, other than that, it's been a great car. I pretty much drive it only on weekends, so I'm able to keep it real nice and just keep it polished and take good care of it. But anyway, that's my Cobra.